This one's gonna be good.
Illustrations by me.
This video is brought to you by Cambo Photo. Don't worry about that. We'll get to that in a second. First, this is the last set. This is the last little tray here of colors, the last 24 that I have to go through for this set. We went through, and I have them all in my hand this time. We have the yellows, and then that was very interesting. The fiery reds in that one. That was an interesting painting. I like that one a lot. And then we went the reds and the purples, got into some of those violets, some beautiful colors on here. I'm picking some from this one, definitely. Then we have some of the rest of the purples, and then we go into some blues and things. That's a very nice one. That was a fun one too. There's some beautiful colors in there as well that I absolutely love. Then we went through the greens and started some of the earth tones. This one was more difficult for me, but there's so many greens that I actually really liked and enjoyed. It's going to be tough to just pick a couple to put on a palette that I want to put on. So now we have this one here, and this starts off with some earth tones, and we're going to start with some yellowy earth tones and get to some brownish earth tones and some red earth tones, and then we get into some dark colors, some Payne's gray and sepia and other grays, and we have this new one called new Sage and Amber. That's interesting. Sage and Amber. It looks like a dusky, earthy green. I'm going to have fun with this one. I already know. There's no worries on this one. I know that I'm going to have fun with this. There's such a broad spectrum of colors. I will be able to do something here that I think will be interesting. At least for me, it will be. I hope it is for you as well. I have really enjoyed this series. So this is going to be the last set of colors. I don't know that I've been looking. I had these for a while. I was waiting to do them, and I had to wait till I did all these other videos, and then I got to these and I was excited. Doesn't seem like everybody else was necessarily excited, but I'm excited. In the meantime, we have plenty of other things coming up. Believe me, plenty of other things coming up. But I just wanted to do this, and I wanted to do it straight through and not skip and not do other things in between and just get done with it, because I've just been so excited to try these. I have heard about DaVinci paints for so long. I've been looking to get some for a very long time. I never did, and it just slipped my mind, and after a while I wasn't even thinking about it until I said, hey, you know, I want to look at some dot cards, and I saw that they had these giant trays with these big dots in them, and I thought, I need to get them. I need to try them. It's been way too long. I've been putting it off for too long. I want to try them, and I'm so glad I did, because I've loved all of these paints so far. The vibrancy and how they work in the water and just how they work on the page has been absolutely wonderful. Absolutely love these paints. They're top of the line compared to anybody. They are top of the line. And in this video, I'm going to be using a Phoenix big squirrel brush, but this is what I'm using, and I've used this very recently. You've seen it. This is the one that I told you feels really nice to hold in your hand. It has that wood finish that you can feel the grain of the wood as you hold it, and I've been absolutely loving using this brush. So I'm going to use this one. It is the number 10. And I will put a link for it down below, of course, with the rest of the stuff here. But I've just really enjoyed these. I think they did a great job on these brushes. So I definitely want to use them again, and see, all the details will be down there. You'll see. But anyway, I'll fill you in a little bit. I'm not going to do a test on it or anything. Just like I'm going to swatch with the water brush. I'll do the painting with this, and then I'll fill you in at the end when I do the painting, how I enjoyed using the brush. Lately, I've been enjoying it. That's just a spoiler, but it's just, there's some things about it I want to talk about, so I will. We're going to get to that in a second, but first, this video is brought to you by Cambo Photo, and I cannot get anything back in a box, so it's not. Anyway, this is a tripod, but it has a secret, and that's what I want to show you. Why am I showing you a tripod? Because a lot of people paint with pochade boxes. I have one here. I'll show you how that works. Or you paint with... the other thing I do is I have a little drawing board like this that I just put an attachment on the back. I just glued it on with crazy glue. And I use that sometimes if I go in the car because the Bashad box is very big. So if I just go in a car somewhere or I'm gonna go to the park or something, I don't wanna sit there and bring this big thing, I just bring a drawing board. Also, there are several attachments with the thing. So there's your attachment that you would put on there if that's what you were doing. It comes with a bag, you take that with you. It does have an instruction manual. You probably will not need it. It opens like a tripod, you know that. Here's the thing here, you open that up, it pops out, you know that. But it's extremely light for being so sturdy. It's solid. If you pick this thing up, it feels solid. It doesn't feel cheap, but it's very light, and a lot of you have some issues with that, and that's why I'm telling you that. Okay, so first of all, it's a quick release. So you just flick this little lever here, that's right here, and this piece comes out. This is the piece you attach to your box. And you don't need a screwdriver. Look, it has this little thumb thing right here, this little lever. So you just pick it up and you turn it, and that's how you tighten it. So it doesn't have to be extremely tight. Don't worry. It's fine. It's secure. The pin itself is metal, but the part that you twist is plastic, and it's sturdy. It's thick, very thick. So you don't have to worry about that. And then you attach this to the tripod. Now, normally, when you go somewhere and you have to take this thing with you, you have to set it up and then you have to worry about, is it gonna blow over? This does have a hook here. So what I do is when I take my backpack with all my stuff in it, I take out what I need, I put it up on the box, and then I hang the backpack right here to have the weight on it, and that way it holds it down. But not everybody wants to do that. Not everybody is going to be going to a park and sitting there and setting this up and extending the whole thing. Here's the secret. So there's this little screw right here, it's a hand screw, a little thumb screw here, that when you take that, this whole center comes out. This is why it's actually useful, and this is why I wanted to show it to you. So this whole thing comes out and it extends just as a monopod. And the way that I use that is when I go in a car. If you're in a car and you want to draw, but you don't want to sit there and hold the thing, or you're having some issues, you have two options. You can either sit in the driver's seat and stick it through the steering wheel and extend it to the ground. You just twist it, it tightens it and locks it in place. And then you have it to the height that you want, and then you put your board on top of it and you can just paint right there. You don't have to hold it. It sits inside your steering wheel as the monopod. And then when you're done, it's just a simple twist. You just twist it and pull the thing back up, and you don't have to worry about, oh, this is not gonna work. I'm not strong enough to lift it. No, it folds into this little thing. Once you twist it, you bring it back up. It's this little thing. It's so light. And you can hold this with 2 fingers. It's not heavy at all, but it feels sturdy. So you can use it. If you're in the passenger side, that's the other way you can use it. And then you just wrap your leg around it and you just hold it still. But at least you have your board on there. So I'm going to show you with this thing now. So now you can adjust this and then you can tighten it over here so it doesn't move. And then you sit it down in front of you, and then you can just tilt it and you can work on it like that. That's why I think this is good, because anybody can take this with them. You don't have to take the whole tripod with you. Just take the monopod part with you and take it with you in the car, because it's getting colder. Not everybody wants to be outside right now anyway. But it folds down into this little tiny thing that you can put inside of a bag somewhere, or you can just take this whole thing and just stick it in your bag if you have a tray. Now, I wouldn't recommend if you have like a big Bashad box or something like that. You don't have to take that whole thing. But if you have the board attached to that thing, I would do that. That's a #1 thing I would do. I would do is use the board. So you keep the thing in your car, and then you bring it out when you go to the lake or you go to the park. And you put it right through the steering wheel. It holds it in place. And then you have your tray there. You have your board there that's hooked to it. And it's supported, so it's not going to go anywhere. And then you can draw on it. You can paint, whatever you're doing. And it's not a hassle. And you can do that from the comfort of your car, which is a lot more comfortable than going on a park bench, or if it's too cold out, or if it's too hot out, depending on the season of the year that it is. You don't have to worry about that. You just use the thing however you want to use it. Listen, a lot of times in winter, people get depressed, they get upset because they're not outside very much. It gets very cold, it's very dingy, and people don't like that. So you can still get out and go paint somewhere. You just can do it from the comfort of your car. And sometimes holding that board in the car is a pain. So now you have a leg supporting it. I just think it's a good idea. So if you want that, there'll be a link down below and you can enjoy your painting from the comfort of your car. It's a nice thing. It's a wonderful thing to do. Then when it gets nicer out, you take the whole tripod out and you go sit at the park. Wait for it to be nice to do that. In the meantime, you just sit in the car and you have the option to do that with this as well. I think that's a great deal. So let's get into the swatching first, then we'll get into the painting and see if I can do something. I know I can do something with this palette. I've been looking forward to this since I started the series. I can't wait to get into this. Okay, so just a quick reminder, you're gonna have the light fast rating here, a 1 or 2, that's just about everything here. I think that is everything here, and a 1 is excellent, a 2 is very good. Equivalent to like 1 being 100 years and 2's being like 50 years or something like that. In a museum condition, and I do not have one in my house, I say it every time. So just be responsible with your artwork, don't put it up in front of light. Don't sit it there in a window, have the sun beating on it. That's just irresponsible. It's going to fade on you. Okay, so the Nicolazo yellow. We have the light fast rating. We have whether it's transparent or not. We have the series in the box. Then the S would mean staining. And then if there's a G after that, G1 is slightly granulating and G2 is very granulating. So Nicolazo yellow. You know I don't like this. This is the Nicolazo yellow. I usually don't like the, I'll show you why I don't like the Nicolazo yellow. It just, to me, most of the ones that I've seen in every other company they just look a little dirty. So, yeah, so here's the thing that some people like about it. So I will tell you the plus about a Nicolazo yellow. And that is, first of all, it's very staining, very, very staining. But you see this light yellow that's here? So if you use this extremely concentrated, let me try and get this a little bit darker up here. A little bit, hold on, let me get a little bit more on the brush. Okay, so a little bit darker, not much, okay. So what people like about it is that it can be kind of like an earthy yellow up here, but it looks dirty, and then down here it gets to a very, very vibrant, bright yellow. That's why people like it, is because you have two tones in the same color. At least that's my experience for why people like it. I do not. I think that looks too dirty, and that fluorescent yellow isn't my thing anyway, so I would say that's not my thing. And it didn't move a whole lot in the water, but you will see it separate out. You'll see that the pigment separates from itself. The bright, bright yellow will bleed out on the edges a little bit. But it's just not a color for me, that's all. And it is fully transparent, but I don't see how, because up here, this gets dirty up here, is a little bit less transparent, but that's okay. The most of it will be transparent, I guess. Series 3, and it's staining. It is the Nicolazo yellow pigment. Now let's go to the gold ochre. We have a 2 light fast rating, semi-transparent, Series 3 staining. This is the yellow iron oxide. I love that color. That's one of my favorite pigments in all of paint, is the oxides. I love the iron oxides. I love them. So the PY42, that is the synthetic yellow iron oxide. And then the PY83 is the diryolide yellow. So this color here, I'm assuming I'm going to like. I like ochres, and gold ochre is no exception. I just love earth tones. Look at that. That's a beautiful color. Absolutely love it. And I would say that it's a little bit lighter than some of the other earthy yellows. And when I mean lighter, I mean less tinting, slightly less tinting strength. But when you look at this, it's a very pretty color, and it gets very light down here. So you can use this, I guess, in a similar fashion you would use a regular yellow ochre, where you put it in the sky if you're going to do like a line and wash or something, and you'll get that bright, glowy kind of color that you might be looking for. But it's a very pretty color. I really like this color. This is a little bit more orange than some of the other gold ochres that I've seen. but still very, very nice. And it doesn't move much in the water. Okay, this is new gold, and you have a 1 light fastness, which is excellent. Very transparent, which is strange because that pigment right there, we'll get to that in a second. Series 3, and it's granulating. Now, PR101, that's the granulating part right there. But it's also, I don't know, it's never, PR101 I've never seen as fully transparent, but they're saying it is. And this is called new gold. So let's see how it is compared to the gold ochre. Let's see. Oh, that is a gorgeous color. That is beautiful. Now that, of course, also has the diarrhea yellow. Did I say that? It does. It's right there. But this is a beautiful orangey earth color. Oh my goodness. This is going on my palette. I love this color. I've not seen that color in many other companies. I don't know if I've seen them in any other company, to be honest with you. It's just a very beautiful color. I'm liking that a lot. Especially this time of year. It's the fall time of year. It doesn't move much in the water. That's fine. They all move a little bit. They will all move a little bit. Now we're going to look at the raw sienna deep. Now, again, so let me just explain quickly. You have a 1 light fastness. It's very transparent. It's Series 1, so it's a less expensive pigment. Granulating 1, so there's a little bit of granulation in there. It's a PY42, which is a yellow iron oxide. So I'm thinking, you know, you can get very different colors with different pigments based on how you treat them. So generally, if this is maybe burned a little bit or heated up or warmed up, or sometimes they just combine it with other elements to turn it a certain color. And that's what happens. So this would be like a yellow ochre. This is a yellow ochre pigment. That's what it is. And that moved through the water a little bit better. I don't know if you saw that on the camera, but it definitely did. It's just a lighter tinting strength on that. And the earth tones can be. That's how they are generally. Now, the PBR7, we're probably going to see that. I think we see that a lot in this set. And we usually do in the earth tones. Because it's just, this is the brown iron oxide. It's a beautiful color. I absolutely love it. But the raw umber natural, raw umber, I'm not a fan of normally. Because it leans a little like a greenish color. We're going to see what theirs looks like. But 1 light fastness, transparent, Series 1 staining and granulating. That is the brown iron oxide. Let's see what theirs looks like. Not that bad. I'm going to see if I can get a little bit more. So something else you need to know is that the earth colors are generally harder to re-wet. But this one was not harder to re-wet, really. It was just, it's just not a very strong tinting strength. I just put a little bit more up there so you can get a little bit more of what that mass tone looks like. But it is, it's a lot less green than some other raw umbers. I can use this. This is, normally I stay away from raw umber just for every reason. I just can't stand how green it looks underneath. But this one, not that bad. This one I could probably use. And that spread through the water just fine. And here we have the burnt sienna. So we have a 1 light fastness, fully transparent, Series 1, staining and granulating. Again, same pigment, PBR7, treated differently. Burnt sienna, that should tell you what they're doing to it. They're burning it. So they're heating that up and getting this beautiful color out of it. Now, this is a very nice color. I never, ever hold a company hostage on this particular color, because every company I know has a different color burnt sienna. I know people think it's like a standardized color. It is not. I've never seen the same burnt sienna in any 2 companies ever. These are always different. But this is a very beautiful shade of burnt sienna. This is something I can get behind. I usually don't, and that flew through the water. That burst open in the water. Usually, I do not use burnt sienna because I don't like the general brown color that it is, because it's just a strange color for me. But this one I would see using because it's a beautiful shade. Very vibrant, very strong tinting strength in this one. And I just absolutely love it. I think that's a beautiful color. So right now I'm liking that new gold a lot. and that burnt sienna. The gold ochre I could even use almost as like a gamboge kind of color. I could use that in that realm. But definitely that new gold and that burnt sienna, I'm loving them. Okay, now you have just made my day. Burnt Sienna Deep is a 1 light fastness, transparent, series 1, staining and granulating. It's the PR101. That's the red iron oxide, one of my favorite pigments in any set ever. I love a PR101. Absolutely beautiful. And let's see here. Yes, so beautiful. Look at that color. Very strong tinting strength. Like I said, I don't know that this is fully transparent. I would hesitate to say that because that PR101 is generally not fully transparent, but they're saying it is. I think I see a little bit, maybe a semi-transparent over here, but I think it would cover a line a little bit. We're gonna see later, maybe. We'll see how that goes. But, and see this thing here. So that, yeah, I got to scrape that back off. This over here, that yellow there is so staining, it stained my entire napkin that I'm wiping everything off on. So anytime I touch it, I'm picking up that yellow and putting it back down on the page, and I don't want to do that. So let's see what this looks like now. And beautiful. Wow, that is just such a strong, vibrant color. There's so much pigment in that color that it's just barely touching it and you get full saturation. Absolutely beautiful. Now this is different from me. This is a little interesting. So just like when you look at the yellow iron oxide, the PY42 is the synthetic version. The PY43 is the natural version. Same thing here. You have the PR101 is the synthetic version. The PR102 is the natural version. I don't think I've ever seen a company use the natural PR101. So this will be interesting. I guess I have, because Daniel Smith uses this in their burgundy red ochre, but I don't remember using it. I don't remember seeing that. And their burnt yellow ochre. I don't know. I don't ever remember seeing this. But anyway, this PR102 is just as beautiful as any PR101. Absolutely. Just a beautiful color from the start. And this is known to be a bully, so when it touches other colors, in this semi-opaque, of course, there's two very good light fastness, semi-opaque series 2. It doesn't say that anything about granulating, and that's strange too, because generally the red iron oxide is a granulating color. So, and I think I see some granulation in there. And it looks almost completely opaque. I don't see, there's no transparency up here in the mass tone, none at all. This is definitely semi-opaque or semi-transparent, however you want to look at that, but definitely not fully transparent. Okay, let's get some water down. And look at how it moves through the water there. It is a bully. It will push everything out of the way. Okay, I love that they include all of these. The terracotta, the Venetian red, and the Indian red. A lot of companies will pick one or the other, or maybe just one or two. They're picking all three and they're putting them in here. Again, we're having a very good light fastness, semi-opaque. I'm going to say it's probably a little bit more than that. Series 1 staining granulating one. This is the PR101, the red iron oxide. And look at that. It's a beautiful color. I would say that's semi-opaque. That's a good call. But that is a beautiful color, and you can see the beautiful granulation already happening in here. Just an absolutely wonderful color. I love Venetian reds. They get kind of dusky in here, like that dusky pink kind of color. I really like these. This is definitely one of my all-time favorites. Right next to Indian red, I want to see what their Indian red looks like, because another one of my favorite colors. That one didn't move much at all. But another one of my favorite colors right there, Indian red, same characteristics as the Venetian red, same pigment, and let's see what that looks like. Again, the way you treat it is the way that it works. So usually I like the Indian red better than the Venetian red in the colors, but I think that's a beautiful color. I love that color. I think that one's, and this is a beautiful color too. That's a beautiful color. I would say fully opaque again. In the mass tone, fully opaque. There, you can't see anything behind that. But this Indian red is much nicer. then, well, let me wait for it to dry. Because usually the Indian red looks really red going down, but then when you, after you let it dry, it turns into a brownish color almost. But right now, this is one of the most beautiful Indian reds I've ever seen, I think. And it spread a little bit in the water, not much. Okay, a brown madder. So I have not used many brown matters. I don't have a lot of reference for this paint, but what I'm looking at here, you have a very good light fastness, semi-transparent Series 4 staining granulating. You have the quinacridone violet mixed in with the PR101. That's got to be a beautiful color. It has to be. And it absolutely is. Look at that. That's almost what I would expect this color to look like because of that extra little bit of the quinacridone violet in there. But that's okay. It's a very pretty color. I think I prefer that Indian red more though. I don't know. I like both of those, but I might prefer the Indian red still. Still might be the winner in my book on this series too. Beautifully spread through the water a little bit. Absolutely nice how it diffuses like that. Beautiful. I love it. I would say, yeah, probably semi-transparent in most of it. In the mass tone, it's thick. But in the most of it, probably semi-transparent is a good call on that one. Now, a violet iron oxide. I've never heard of that before in my life. It's a Series 1, I'm sorry, it's a excellent light fastness, semi-opaque, Series 2, staining, granulating 2, so it's very granulating. And it's that red iron oxide, just like they have been. You can do so much with that pigment, so much with it, and they are. So let's see what this looks like. Oh, look at that. Oh, that's beautiful. Let me lighten this up a little bit so you can see that undertone of purple. It is gorgeous. Now, just like everything, and I think I've already said this, but just like everything else, that PR101, you can change that so many different ways. Look at this color over here. That PR101 over, look at this PR101 over here. It's just, this is only PR101, and look at that. It's a beautiful color, and it's a little bit orange, and it gets all the way down to a purple down here. Just absolutely a stunning pigment that can do so many things. That's why it's one of my favorite pigments, because it can do so many different things. And no matter what it's doing, it always looks beautiful. This color is the exact opposite to the saying, you can put lipstick on a pig, but it's still a pig. This is the opposite. This is the most beautiful pigment ever. It doesn't matter what you do to it. It's always the most beautiful pigment in the series. It's just my opinion, but I absolutely love it. Next up, we have a burnt umber. It is a excellent light fastness, semi-transparent Series 1, granulating 1, and the brown iron oxide. This should be very brown. That's the characteristic of it, and it is very, very brown. Wonderful. So it's more of a true brown. It's not really a, well, like this. Let's see what happens if it dries, but right now, the way that I'm putting it down, it's a true brown. It doesn't lean warm. It doesn't lean cool. It's kind of, or I should say it doesn't lean to the yellow side and it doesn't lean to the red side. It leans just basically in the middle. It's a middle brown. That's what I would say this is. And it's a beautiful color. I like nice browns. And I like true browns over yellow browns. I'm not a fan of yellow browns much. Now that doesn't mean I don't like brownish yellows. I do. This is a brownish yellow. That did get a little bit greenish, but not bad. Not bad at all. I'd still use that. It doesn't lean too far. That's a good, but the yellows that lean brown, I love them. And then the browns that lean yellow, I don't, for whatever reason. Okay, this says raw umber natural. We have a one light fast, excellent light fastness, semi-transparent Series 1, staining granulating 1, and the brown iron oxide. Wow, that is dark. I'd have never seen a raw umber that dark in my life. That is definitely the darkest raw umber I've ever seen. And again, a very neutral brown color. That's strange for a raw umber color. Usually the raw umbers lean to that greenish side. That's beautiful. I like that better than that. It says raw umber natural here. This is just raw umber, but yeah, it says raw umber. I thought maybe I had it wrong. That's the burn umber, which should lean a little bit more red if it's burn umber, and I guess it does technically. Look at this. This is like a sepia color right in here. This is beautiful. Let's see what their sepia looks like. So this sepia is 1 light fastness. It's semi-transparent, series 1 granulating. That is the carbon black. So that is a, it's made by burning burnt petroleum, not bone. It's not ivory black. It's regular carbon black. So this should be a real dark black. Sometimes it even looks like a cooler black sometimes, but this is definitely supposed to be a more truer black that is added to it, and then you have the brown iron oxide. So let's see what that sepia looks like. It should be a dark. I don't know if they're going to get darker than that. I'll do the water here in a second. I don't know if they're going to get darker than that. Well, look at that. So I think those have to switch places in names if it was up to me. If this was my set, I would say that this is the raw umber here, and that's the sepia. I could be entirely wrong, but that's what I would say. Although that one is more staining than this one, and that says staining, and I don't know. I would say that this is definitely... Oh, this is more like a sepia than a raw umber. To me, it is. Let me know what you think. What do you think about that? Yeah, I can't... I'm having trouble reconciling that in my head. Although that's nothing new. A lot of things are hard to reconcile in my head. So let me just slide this up a little bit here. Okay, good. We can still get everything on the page. Great. I mean on the screen. Not the page. It's all on the page. It's on the screen. Denise gets a gray too? Oh, but there's got to be a list somewhere. Tell me how to get my name on the list. All right, we have a excellent light fastness, and we have semi-opaque, series 5, granulating 1. And this is one, these are two of my favorite pigments again. You have, I love the cobalt, you know that. You have the PB36, that's a cobalt chromite. It's the cobalt blue, basically. Or, no, sometimes it's like a greenish color. But sometimes it's like a cerulean color, so it just depends. It's like a cobalt blue for the most part. Anyway, and a PR101 red iron oxide. Let's see what Denise's gray looks like. Oh, that's a beautiful gray. Hopefully you're going to see this, but it almost leans a little bit. It's definitely to the blue side under here. It's like a cool gray that almost leans a little bit violet almost, I want to say. It just, and I guess you're mixing a blue and a red, but usually when you mix any color with that PR101 and you mix that in, it gets a little bit more of a muted, muddy color. This is a beautiful color. It's muted, but it's a beautiful gray. Look at that. Great job, Denise. That's a great color. I love that color. I'm definitely going to use that color. Maybe I would be useless on the list. I can't mix any more colors than these other people are mixing. They're definitely not better than theirs. Okay, so this Payne's Gray is unique too. Thank you for not using the ultramarine to make the Payne's Gray. It makes it too blue, in my opinion. So this is going to be a series, a light fast one. I don't know why I keep saying that. Light fast one, semi-transparent series 2, staining, granulating a little bit. This is the carbon black with the Prussian blue. Isn't that nice? And look how dark it can get. And this is a very pretty color here, this Payne's Gray, but it does lean very blue. Let's see what happens when it dries. Sometimes this will gray out a little bit more, but look how black that gets up in there. My goodness, that's dark. Very pretty color. Absolutely a fan of it. I love my Payne's Grays. And it spreads through the water just wonderfully. Here's what I do. I think I've said this before, but in this case, I would use this raw umber. But basically, I always keep a sepia and a Payne's Gray close by. Because if I want to tone something a certain way, make it a little darker, but tone it to one side or the other, I add a little bit of Payne's Gray or Sepia. That's what I do. Make it a little warmer or make it a little bit cooler. That's what I like to do. But this Payne's Gray is beautiful. It looks more like the Daniel Smith Payne's Blue Gray is what it looks like. It's very blue as far as I'm seeing. Okay, then we have the neutral tint. It is a 2 light fast, so it's very good. And it's semi-transparent, Series 3 staining. You have the carbon black. You have the phthalo blue. It doesn't say which shade it is, just phthalo blue. And then you have the quinacridone violet. Let's see, the neutral tint usually leans purple. I don't know why everyone says it's neutral. It's not. It leans purple. And if you mix it with something else, it does cool it down a little bit. So let's see what their neutral tint looks like. And their neutral tint does not look purple. Oh, it looks like a real neutral tint. Look at that. Look at how just plain gray that is. I love it. That's a great job, DaVinci. You made it a real neutral tint. Now it'll just gray it down a little bit. That's what needs to happen. So they did a great job there. I'm a fan of that. And it doesn't move very much, just a little bit. Now that's a neutral tint I would actually buy. I'm very, very happy with that. Okay, so now we are at the ivory black, everybody. This one is a 1 light fastness, semi-transparent, Series 2, staining, granulating. That is bone black. That's what that is. That is burnt animal bone. And that's what they use, the charred bone, to make this one. So some of you will not use it. Generally, this looks like a warm black. So I don't like it anyway. I don't use it anyway because I don't like my blacks to have brown, like a brown undertone. But that is much more neutral than any other ivory black that I've seen. Any PBK9 usually looks a lot more brown under there. So anyway, let's see what it does in the water. But yeah, this is definitely a lot less. There's no brown undertone here. Now, this lamp black here, 1 light fast, is opaque. Completely opaque is what they're saying. That's interesting. And then they're saying that there's a Series 2 staining, and it's PBK6. Now, PBK6, we've talked about that before. Can mean 2 different things. It's actually can be a shungite or it can be the carbon black, but it's used, the carbon black used burning petroleum. The shungite is like a crystalline silicate particles. It's different, but they can be either or. They're both PBK6. Most people mean carbon black, but I've always heard people using the shungite thing, which is like it's like a kind of like an intense graphite black is what it is. But anyway, so if this lamp black is like any of their other colors, it's going to be completely neutral. Let's see. And it absolutely, look at that color. That's beautiful. Oh, I take it back. Hold on. I mean, the mass tone is absolutely beautiful. Okay, so this has a brown undertone. So this is not something that I would use. My favorite one so far is this neutral tint. I'm going to use that from my black. That is a beautiful color there. It's a cool black, so it leans a little bit cooler under here, and I like that. I don't usually use the ivory blacks, not very intense as it is. There's some granulation in it though, but this lamp black is definitely not for me because it does have that brown undertone, and it's just not my thing. I don't like the warm blacks. And we have a Davies Gray, which is a 1 light fastness. It's supposed to be wow, that's very opaque. That's not semi-opaque, that's very opaque. And it's a Series 2 staining. We have the titanium white. Oh, what did you just do to my brush? Titanium white. You have the carbon or the shungite black. And the PG7. Phthalo green in my gray. Oh, look at that. Oh, I hate it. It's not that I hate it. It's not a bad color. I'm not a big green, gray kind of person anyway. But with that green, So Davy, listen up, Davy. You gotta opt for the Viridian, not the PG7. Put the Viridian in it. Look at what Denise's gray did. The red separated from the blue. Oh, that is a beautiful, look, all in here. It all separated. Do you see that? That is a beautiful color. Wonderful job, Denise. Davey, go, take out a notepad and go talk to Denise on how to get nice colors. Not the PG7, I'll tell you that. I don't know who Davey is, but you tell me down below. Who is Davey? Why does he get a gray? And why would he pick a PG7? Okay, so this Chinese white, we have a excellent light fastness, semi-opaque, which it's a white. You would expect it, but it's not as high a tinting strength as the titanium white. It's a series 1. I say not high. There is some titanium white in it, but there's also the zinc oxide white. The zinc oxide, usually a little bit warmer of a color, and maybe not this, we'll see, but usually a little bit warmer and not as opaque as the titanium. But they did put some titanium white in here, I guess, to make it a little bit more opaque. So there you go. And I don't think it looks that warm at all. I think that it's actually a little bit cool with that titanium in it, maybe. I don't know, but I think it worked out well. Of course, I'm not going to put any water down and see how it disperses because, you know, that would be silly. You wouldn't be able to see it anyway. So this is titanium white. I did get this on the brush a little thick, but this is the titanium white. Basically the same thing, but it should have more covering power. It should be more opaque, which it says, that's what they're saying. It's more opaque. Look at how that covered that line pretty good. But as it dries, it usually lightens up a little bit. Excellent light fastness, opaque, series 1 staining, and it is the titanium white. And I think that covered it a little less. Well, we'll see when it dries. It could be how much I have on the brush, whatever. And there was some titanium white in there. We'll see how, as it dries, we'll see how it goes. Now this one, I have to look this up. Just so you know, as I'm doing this, I will bring them up on the screen. I'll put them somewhere up here. They have 6 new colors that they have up here on the site right now. And they're always doing that. They're always doing some specialty sets with some new colors. They have a Harvest Moon, transparent orange, natural hematite, which looks beautiful. Twilight also looks beautiful. An olive brown, which is a green, and I get that, and a black iron oxide. Absolutely gorgeous colors that are up here. The Harvest Moon was a little bit yellow for me. The olive brown is a little bit yellow for me, but probably good for a mossy color. But the other 4 are beautiful, and I would buy them in a second. I think those are going on my palette. I would love to have samples of those to test out, but I'm going to put them most likely on that palette. They're beautiful colors. Okay, so this, I just looked up the pigments for this one, and you can see there's a 2 light fast, semi-transparent, very granulating. They say it disperses very well. I'll do a little swatch over here for that in the water. So this is the cobalt chromite, which is the cobalt blue, and you have a phthalo green. This PO62 is a benzimidazolone orange, but it's the yellower shade of the benzimidazolone orange. So PO62, they call it the H5G version, which is a lighter yellowy mid-orange kind of color, which is a little different than like the reddish oranges. It's just a little bit more to the yellow side. And then the PW6, which is the titanium white. And this color here is a very interesting color. I don't know how I feel about that color. I don't think I like it in the mass tone. This underside here looks very nice. That little bit of orange that pops out underneath, that looks good, but it looks a little bit sickly, I think. I'm not a fan of this color necessarily, but let me see what happens if I put a little bit of extra water down and then put it into the water and see. Let's charge it into some water and see what happens. We'll let that separate for a second and see what happens. Okay, so here's what I will say. This is a palette all by itself. You have some yellows. You have these beautiful golden color here. You have some earthy color going into earthy brown. Well, earthy yellow is over here too. So you have some earthier colors, all earthy colors really. You get into the browns, you go into some reds. You have a purple, you have a brown, you have a purpley gray over here that separates beautifully. You have a blue, you have a black, you have a green, and you have whatever this is over here. I'm not sure what that is yet. I do see some things separating out. That green is separating out, which I don't like. But the orange is definitely separating out of that, which I do like. So maybe that's a way to use it. I don't know. But this is a palette by itself. You wouldn't need any other colors, and you could use this in a palette, and it would be a beautiful color palette to have. I don't know how I'm going to pick the colors off of this that I want in my set. They are absolutely stunning. Now, normally I am a Perylene Violet kind of person, but I would use this in place of that Perylene Violet any day. That is a beautiful color. I love that color. I'm a big fan of both of these up here. I thought I was a fan of the Burnt Sienna, but I think I'm a bigger fan of the Burnt Sienna Deep. I think I like that one better. And then I did love that Venetian red, but that Indian red is absolutely beautiful. I love that color. The brown matter is also pretty, but I think I'd stick with the Indian red. The violet iron oxide, absolutely wonderful. I would go with the raw umber here, which I never pick a raw umber. I always pick a sepia, but that raw umber is just a beautiful brownish, dark brown color. Then the Denise's gray, I would definitely pick that. I'm a huge fan of and I do like that Payne's gray. That's a nice Payne's gray. The neutral tint, I'm a huge fan of that. The Davies gray actually grew on me. I think I don't like green grays usually, but I think I like this one. This is a little different. I like that color. So, and this dried a little bit less brown than I thought it was, this lamp black here. A little less brown than it first came off on the page. But I would still use this neutral tint as a black. Look at how it gets black. It is a black, and it gets so nice. That gray is beautiful. Okay, let's see if I can do anything with these beautiful colors to do them justice. I doubt it, but I will try. So how can I even start this? I don't know what to say. This is a beautiful palette all by itself. Just all of the different colors. I was able to do a lot. I knew, as soon as I saw how that Denise's gray separated, I knew I wanted to put a focal point of that in the top left, and that's what I did. And I knew what I wanted to go around it as well, but that's the only part that I knew. Everything else kind of just flowed from that. I thought this is probably one of my favorite pieces that I've done in this whole series. Maybe some people don't like it, but I loved it. I thought it was great. So there were so many different color combinations to go together, and I think that was good. And I mixed a couple on the page, but I didn't mix them before I put them on the page. This set, mixing them, there's a whole different world of colors there that I did not experience mixing them. But I did mix some on the page. But it hit every note that I needed it to hit. When you wait till the end, up in the top left, that bright yellow, even, okay, in the bottom right, I put in that new, what is it, the sage amber color, and it did not come out the way that it did on the swatch. It didn't come out that weird, like, orange-green mix color. It came out like a soft orange with, and the green kind of stayed under it, but created little shadows. It was actually a very nice color, better than what I thought it was going to be, that's for sure. And my God, just all of the colors are so beautiful. I love this set. I don't know how I'm going to pick from this set to put in my set, how I'm going to pick out which ones I really like. There's so many. And they're all just subtle differences. The subtle difference between the Venetian red, the Indian red, and then into the brown matter. Just a subtle difference. Now, the terracotta, that one is very different. So that has that orangey tinge to it. It's still a beautiful red color, but it has like an orangey tinge to it. But it's an earthy orange, not like, it's not a red that leans orange. it's almost like a, well, it's like clay. It's like terracotta. It's a great name for the color that it is. I absolutely love it. But all of them, the Venetian red, the Indian red, and the brown madder, they're just subtle differences, but they're so different. When you see them in the piece, you'll see that they're different. Even though they look like they could be the same, they're not. They come out different. It's very interesting. And that violet iron oxide, I love that color. I'm hooked on that color. It's a beautiful color. It's so wonderful. It's exactly how I would use a perylene violet. Is exactly how I use that color, and just what I think of when I use it. And when you put that in the top right, you will see I put that next to the Denise's violet at the very end, the very, very end. In top right, I put it next to the Denise's violet. Those colors go together like, well, something that goes together. Peanut butter and jelly, or peanut butter and fluff, or jelly and cream cheese. However you like to do whatever you like to do, that's how they go together. I was even able to get some browns in there and I mixed one brown into some of the other colors, but then I just had the one swatch of brown that was in there. It was the raw umber. I really like that color. That is a beautiful brown color. I know it seems very muted, but the whole set, this whole thing is, they're earth tones. So they're gonna be muted, but that's what I love about them. That's what makes them so beautiful, to me anyway. Maybe not to other people. Maybe other people like brighter colors. I love muted colors, and I love the earth tones. And the fact that in this particular set here, you have all of the earth tones, all different colors, all different families of colors. I was so happy with this whole thing. I think this is my favorite of all of the series. So far, this is my favorite. I did put an eye in it, and it's a weird looking eye. It's not a regular eye. It's like an eye from like a horror movie eye. Like, you know when the whole thing goes black? It's kind of like that kind of eye, but that's okay. I enjoyed it. I think it came out fine. It came out a little different than what I imagined in my head, but that's okay. I don't mind that at all because I enjoy how it came out. But I just had fun with this one. I had a lot of fun. And the brush, oh, I already washed it out. The brush worked well. I really enjoy these brushes. For someone who never enjoyed that type of brush ever, that I always liked either the synthetic, regular synthetic, or, and I've used sables and enjoyed sables, but those squirrel hair brushes are beautiful. They're wonderful. Now, I just know some of you will not like the squirrel hair brushes because you don't use real hair brushes, and that's fine. You get the synthetics, you use whatever you need to use for you. I'm just telling you what I enjoyed using in this video. I really enjoyed that. Just holding that brush is fun for me. I just like the feel of it. That wood grain that you feel in it, but it still feels very smooth and satiny. There's nothing like it. That new gold has become one of my favorite colors. It's an earthy orange color. It's not bright and in your face. It's a very subtle, and you can tone it a little bit. So what I did was on this, you'll see on the right side, I put that in just a little section, and then I put into it the terracotta. I think I took the terracotta because that has that orangey glow to it, and I kind of dotted it in. And the combination there, I loved it. I think that's a beautiful color combination right there. That's something that I will definitely use again in another painting somewhere. I definitely will. I have been a fan. The entire series, I've been a fan of the Da Vinci paints. They've done a great job. I don't know where I heard. Years ago when I first looked at them, there were a lot of people saying, oh, I started with the Da Vinci paints, but then I wanted to move up to like a top brand. They're a top brand. These are top quality paints. I don't know how else to say that. I don't know what other people were talking about when they maybe thought they were. everything that I'm looking at here, I love DaVinci paints. They are one of my favorite paints now. I want to hear from you. Have you ever used the DaVinci paints? Do you like them? Do you enjoy them? Have you ever had a problem with them? Go ahead and tell me. I have not. Every single one that I've used has worked exactly as I wanted it to. I've either had the intensity that I wanted to or the mutedness that I wanted to. I knew exactly what I was getting into when I used the color. So after I swatched it, of course, because they surprised me when I swatched them. But they have so many unique colors, and it's hard to find a company that, even big companies who have a lot of different paints, I mean, many more than what DaVinci has, they even don't hit all of those marks. I think it's going to be very hard to narrow down a single palette of colors just from the color, because there's just so many that I absolutely love. It's going to be hard for me to narrow down the greens. When have you ever heard me say that? End conclusion of these are the colors that I like and that I want to include in a set. It may be more than I can handle. It may be more than I can include in a set, and I'll have to narrow it down further later because they're just so wonderful. And when I get the paints, I'm not doing half pans. They're going to go in full pans. So if I can't fit that many full pans in my watercolor tin, I'm not adding more. They're going to be full pans, not half. I like the full pans, especially because I'm using the bigger brushes. So you can't, when you just use the little half pan, just dip the edge of the brush in. I don't like to do that all the time. I like to soak the brush, roll it in the color. So I like to use the full pans, but my goodness, there's just so many, I don't even know where to start. So that's a great segue into this next section. So someone said to me, commented and said, I'm really looking to get into some new paints because I just want to try something new. And then she said, well, really what I'm looking for is maybe a different style, because I'm finding that the more I'm looking at these other paints, it's really the thing that I'm doing that's becoming a little bit boring to me. Don't do that to yourself. Don't tie yourself into one type of art that you do. In this series, I've done one type of art, but it's only one type of art that I do. I can't wait to get back into the other types of art that I do. There's a few different kinds that I do that I'm so ready to get back into that. But I haven't, because I wanted these to be all kind of in a series and do them all the same way in the same series. But you need to, if you need to experiment with something different, use different styles or paint something different. Do it a different way. Just have fun, experiment, have some fun. Use a different medium. Do whatever you have to do because really what it's about is you have the urge to create. You need to create. It bubbles up from inside. You have to do it. So do it. But just make sure it doesn't bore. There is so much to do with art that you should never be bored. It should never be a boring thing. It should never be, oh, I don't really want to do this anymore. It should never feel like that. If I don't feel like doing something, I just don't do it. I don't just do it just to do it. If I'm not feeling something, I won't do it. And I'll do something different. Now, I did enjoy doing that on all of this series so far, but the next one I do is going to be different than that, because that's what I want to do, because I'm inspired to work towards those other things, which is why I like that I have so many different styles that I like to do. It's why you still see me putting acrylic paint in some of my watercolors, because those videos perform terribly. But I do it because it's something I like to do. It's something that I just want to create a little bit differently, so I want to add a medium in there. Or sometimes I put a colored pencil in there, or like an Inktense, a water-soluble pencil or something like that in there, because I just want to add something different and try something different and experiment and have fun. Because if you're not having fun, you're doing it wrong. That's the only rule that I have with art. The only one is You have to have fun. You have to enjoy what you're doing. And if you're not, don't do it. It's not worth it. It's not worth doing. Now, when I say that, keep in mind, I'm not talking to the people who have like are professional artists who do that for a living. You have to do it. You have to eat. So you have to get paid and you have to do that art. I'm talking about all of us here that just paint for whatever reason, because you enjoy it as a hobby, because you like to be a professional artist who sells your work, but not that you rely on everything to be a certain way. You're not working at a job where they're telling you you have to do this and you say, no, I don't want to. You can't do that. But you can do that in your own, if you were running your own business and you decided, yeah, I want to just do something different. You can do that. But always make sure whatever you're doing is fun and exciting. Art is amazing. It's just, it just, all the creativity just comes to the surface. And if you're struggling with that, we're going to talk about some more stuff on how you can get over those things. We'll do that in another video. But you should never struggle. And one of the best things that I think you can come up with is find different things you like to do. Even sometimes I don't do abstract art at all. Sometimes, matter of fact, I have one book that I don't do much abstract in, even a little bit. I do like line and wash stuff. I might do landscapes. I might do houses. I might do birds. I might do animals. Not that birds aren't animals. You know what I mean? I just do other things in it. And that's fun. And then I have another book that I just do scribbles in. That's the only thing I do in it, is I scribble art. That's it. That's all I do. So I like to do that too sometimes. I don't do a lot of that on the channel. It's not very popular here on the channel. Not a lot of people like that, but I do. And I am working to get as good as Eugen. I cannot do it. What he does with his stuff is very different. I even saw him, I was watching his live streams. He does live streams. You should watch him. How he gets to that point, and I'm trying to follow. I can't do it. It doesn't work for me. It ends up, not saying that I don't like what I end up with. It just doesn't look anything like what he's doing. It ends up being something completely different, because once I get in a groove, everything falls out of my head. That's normal anyway. But everything falls, and I just start scribbling, just get into it, and I'm just starting doing things, and I get excited, and I start, oh yeah, I want to do this, and I want to do that. And by the end, it doesn't look anything like what he's doing. So that's just how it happens for me. Don't worry about that. But when I watch him, it inspires me to do different things, because I say, oh yeah, that does look interesting. Maybe I can do something that looks interesting too. So that's what you need to look for. Look for those people that say, yeah, I like what they're doing. I may not do it that way. I might not end up with what they have. I'm going to do it a little bit different. I'll do it my way, but I want to try something a little different, and I'm going to do that. Just don't ever get bored with art. There's too much to do. I know, because I used to be there. I used to be that person that was like, oh, what am I going to do this day? I open it up and I just stare at a blank page like, okay, I know I want to do an animal, because at the time I was doing a lot of animal portraits. And I would look, and I know I want to do an animal. What am I going to do? What kind of animal? And I start looking through books I have many books on animals, just to look at them and look at the pictures and say, okay, which one do I want to do and which one do I like? And I'm telling you, if you ever end up in that spot, do something different. Just put that book down and do something completely different that you don't normally do, and see if you enjoy it. Because you may stumble onto something and say, you know what, I enjoy doing that. It's 100 times different than what I normally do. And you do that for a little while, and then that spark will come back, and you'll want to go back to that thing that you were doing. You'll say, oh, wait a minute, that gives me an idea. And you get back to the other thing you were doing. It just, art works that way. It's a wonderful thing. I really enjoy it. So I hope you do. I hope you find yourself in that kind of situation, and I hope you enjoy doing the things that you're doing, just like these people popping up here. I hope that they enjoy supporting me the way that they support me, because I enjoy that they do that. So that's one thing that we have in common. You know what I'm saying? Okay, so thumb up the video if you are going to try and use DaVinci paints. Get some of these. I'm telling you, these are worth it. They're beautiful paints. Just some of these colors are, you're not going to find them somewhere else. Some you will, but then, you know, the normal everyday ones that every company has. But some of these are so unique. They're just absolutely wonderful. So do that and check out the brush. If you like squirrel brushes, these are beautiful. These Phoenix brushes, they've done an amazing job. When I first heard of them, everyone was saying about how there's just, you know, they're not exactly the professional company. Are you kidding me? I've used so much of their stuff. They tell you if it's not the professional brand. They tell you right there. But their brushes, top quality brushes, absolutely beautiful. And they do have that one set of professional paints as well that I also liked when I did that one. The other ones, they tell you they're not professional brand. Don't try and use them for that. That's not what they're for. But the other ones are. Okay, I'm sure I've stumbled and fallen flat on my face in this video. I will show you those things now. Is anybody else box challenged? Have you ever been able to get anything back in a box once you've taken it out? I'll tell you what, if a computer or a machine, not a computer, if a machine has ever put anything in a box, I cannot put it back in the box once I take it out. It's like they have like a precision thing. I am not AI. I do not like when my blacks have brown undertones. That can be taken out of context. I hope someone's going to record that and blackmail me with it in like 10 years. And I love the way these Golden Phoenix brushes, that's not a company. There's no, it's not Golden Phoenix. It's just Phoenix. The other company's Golden Maple. I'll do this again. These squirrel brushes are the series 3915. Okay, we'll try that again. You put a green in my gray. I used the brush. You better hope it didn't stain. I will throw this thing in the trash. I think it stained the brush. Oh, you gotta be kidding me. A new brush is dead. We have come to the end of a lifetime. That's not what I want to say. And you'll see in the bottom right also when I put that, what is it, the new Samber? Sage and Amber. Maybe it should be called Samber. Who knows? But it looks completely different on the page. Anyway. And then you just use your thing, and you can just paint there. You got your heating and air conditioning, depending on what type of year it is and what type of year. Oh my goodness. I'm sure I have stumbled and fallen flat. If you'd like to join our community, head over to illustrationsbypete.com. You can just check some things out. You go through the site however you want and sign up for the newsletter that I almost never send out because I don't want to annoy the crap out of you more than I already do with my nonsense in these videos. But I'd love to hear from you, so come on over. All right.